Hello. Welcome back. I have missed sprints since I wasn't able to host last week. I've been looking forward to tonight. I didn't wake up feeling the brightest, but we are here and we are going to do about 3 hours of sprints tonight. And I am going to be finishing up my book club book. I have a couple of chapters left. And this is what I'm reading, The Small and the Mighty by Sharon McMahon. It's been really interesting and really good so far. So let's see what everyone else is up to. Hello, Grandma Susan. She says, good evening, all. And she says, I'm listening to None of This Is True, not typical genre, nor an author I know, would not recommend it. Who is it that is the author of that one? I feel like I have heard that title before, but I haven't read it. Sorry, I'm just plugging in my other light. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. And Grandma Susan says, sorry, none of this is true. Yeah, I thought that's the title you meant. That's what I've heard of. Hello, Morgan. She says, stopping in to say hi, and I'm watching my niece and nephew right now, but I'll be back later once they leave. How cool. How old are they? Are you babysitting or are they just over visiting? And hi, Kat. She says, hi, everyone. I'm reading Spine Tingling by Elizabeth Spahn Craig, book 7 in the Village Library series. I'm really enjoying this book and series. I need to look that series up because you mentioned that last time you were on sprints. Sorry, I just got back from out of town, so all my stuff is like not in a normal place. Okay, let me write this down. The Village Library series. Village Library series. So I can look that up. And Bethany, hello, says hi, reading Of Love and Treason. K-Tree, hi, welcome in. She says, currently making tacos for dinner. That sounds good. I'm having, oh no, my cat is getting into a package. He loves the sound of that crinkly plastic. I have to keep it away from him. Oh, darn, Humphrey. I'll be having some leftovers. I made some stroganoff earlier in the week, and I made some stuffed peppers last night, I think. So that's what I'll be having. Hello, Tanya. She says, hey, I just started reading The Red Canary by Rachel Scott McDaniel. And Jeanette is in. Hey, Jeanette. She says, hello, I'm reading Last to Fall by Lynn H. Blackburn. And Grandma Susan says, Of Love and Treason is outstanding. Enjoy. So I will check that out too. Write that down. Hey, Katrina is going to be having stuffed peppers for supper and going to listen to Hadassah tonight. Yeah, I had stuffed peppers last night. Very simple. I did mix some ground beef and some ground pork, and then I used some riced cauliflower for my stuffing, and then some cheese. And it was really good last night for dinner, so I'm having leftovers today. And Bethany says, yes, Grandma Susan, loving it so far. And Kat says, I think you would enjoy the series. It takes place in a library and has a library cat named Fitz after F. Scott Fitzgerald. Oh, yeah, I think I would. I love, of course, cozy mysteries, and if they have a cat, if there's a library or a bookstore or a bookmobile, those are all pluses. And Jeanette says, Tanya, are you liking it so far? I'm hoping to read it this year. And Katrie says, I second that. Grandma Susan really enjoyed that book. Okay, I'm going to check that out. And Tanya says, Jeanette, I just finished chapter 1, but I like it a lot. It's pulled me in already. Cool deal. So let me take a look at some of these and see. Village Library series. Is this yeah, okay, I see book 2 here. Do I see book 1? Oh, those covers are so cute. Okay, it looks like the first one is called A Checked Out, and it says there are no renewals when you're permanently checked out. Oh, that's funny. Okay, definitely gonna be adding that one. Okay, and then Of Love and Treason, we'll check that one out. And hey, Paige, she says, hi, listening to But He's My Grumpy Neighbor and reading The Romance of the Forest. But He's My Grumpy Neighbor. I heard somebody talk about that one recently. Let's see. I'm still looking up Of Love and Treason here. Of Love and Treason. And that's by Jamie Ogle. And, oh, it's a historical romance. Nice. I do prefer historical romances over contemporary romances. Oh, and this one looks, it's like AD 270. Very interesting. I'm going to have to check that one out too. And tonight am also going to be trying to update my book journal because it's been, well, I was on vacation last week and I was out of town. I didn't take it with me, but I did read some last week, and I don't think I had updated it the week before because I was getting ready to go out of town. So it's behind, and I'll need to get that caught up to date and get ready, see how much progress I've made in the readathon. So I might actually do that during the first sprint. I do have this book on audio, so I will this book on audio, so I will listen to the audio for the first sprint, and then and work on my book journal, see if I can get that caught up. And Tanya says, Jeanette, excited to read some mystery suspense in March, starting a couple of days early. I was wanting to read a couple of books, but they're middle grade, and so I don't want to start them till March so that I can count them. Where do I have them? Oh, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. So I have Little House in the Big Woods. I have this one, Riley Carson and the Cherokee Caves. And I have Harlow Morgan that Celestria read. This is Harlow Morgan and the Sky City, and it's book 1. It's a middle grade steampunk adventure, and I do like steampunk, so I think this is going to be really cool. So I have 3 books already that I have planned for middle grade March, and then I have some other books that I just want to read. So once I finish that book club book, I will probably pick up one of these. So this is A Cozy Mystery, Final Sentence, and this is by Daryl Wood Gerber. It's the first book in A Cozy Mystery series. And then I have this book that I want to read, The Cairo Curse by Pepper Basham. This is the next book in the Freddie and Grace series. I've only read book one. I'm pretty sure this is book two. And then this one, and that'll catch me up for this Gabriel Meyer series. This is Through Each Tomorrow. So yeah, excuse me, my throat. I'm going to go get my tea too here when we start our sprint. And today I think I picked orange and spice tea that I have in my cup ready for some hot water. And we have Cool Gamer in. Hello, welcome. We're going to be starting a sprint here soon. And Katrie says it's about St. Valentine. Which book is about St. Valentine? Katrie. Is it the Love and Treason one about St. Valentine? And Jamie says hello. And Jamie is going to be working on her Bible writing. Tell us how you're getting on with that, Jamie. Are you on track or are you ahead? Think you'll finish by your goal? And Jeanette says, Tanya, most of my February has been suspense and will continue into March. And Grandma Susan says the Cairo Curse is outstanding. I enjoyed the entire series. The Timeless series has been one of my best series ever. Yeah, I really like it a lot. I was talking to my nephew. So on the way home from out of town, I brought my nephew back with me because I was getting into town a day earlier than his parents. And so he came home with me because he wanted to get home. And we talk about everything, music and books and just whatever. And we were talking about books, and I said something about the Timeless series. I think because he had mentioned some book that had, was it a similar premise or that involved like time travel? And so I was telling him about the Timeless series, and he's like, yeah, I remember you talking about that. And it's true. When I read the first book, I could like not stop talking about it, and it was right around the holidays, so we were getting together with family quite a bit, and I'm sure like he heard plenty of my thoughts about that series because I was just loving it so much. All right, guys, we are at a good time, I think, to start our first sprint. So we'll get right into that. I do have to pull up an ambiance. This is a new computer for me, so I don't have one open already. And it just took me a little while to set up. Let me know. So it'll take me a couple of minutes to find the ambiance and get it pulled in. So you'll just see me for a bit. If the ambiance like flashes in or out, I'm thinking that was my old computer, like the memory was getting full and stuff like that. So hopefully this is new computer, it's fresh, and hopefully that won't happen with the ambiance. But let me know, and let me know if I freeze or anything like that, because if I do, then it's not my computer, it's probably my internet. So let's get going, and we'll do a 40-minute sprint, so that'll take us to 5 after. So we'll get the banner up, I'll mute myself and start working on adding that ambiance. All right, we are back. How did that ambiance do? Did it flicker at all? Am I freezing at all? Let me know. Let's see where we left off on the comments. I did get my journal caught up. Apparently, I hadn't written down anything that I've read in February, so I was like trying to see physically what books I had that I have finished this month. In my various places that I keep my books. And I was also looking on my Libby app and my Audible app. Oh, I forgot I have another app to look at. I started the audiobooks.com. So I'll need to check there and see if there was anything that I listened to this month. So I'm also trying to fill out my challenges. I'm having a little trouble finding a distinct book for each of the prompts for February. I'm still trying to do that. So hopefully in the next sprint, I can get that all sorted out. And let's see how you all did. Okay, I think here's where we left off. Grandma Susan says, K-Tree, have you read anything else by Jamie Ogle? She's an Audible auto buy for me. More coming soon from her. And Tanya says, that's cool, Jeanette. That's your favorite genre, right? And Jamie says, I'm behind. I haven't been writing as much as I have wanted. I've allowed doom scrolling to control my month of ice I'm working on. Yeah, that's hard. I try to give myself just a few minutes to look at things. Unfortunately, that does mean that I miss a lot of stuff of people that I follow because I set my time limit and I'm pretty strict. And unfortunately, that algorithm is showing me all kinds of stuff and not the stuff that I want to see from the people that I follow. I mean, it does pick stuff like Disney things and things like that. So it is stuff that I like, but I'd rather see the content first from the people that I choose to follow than suggested stuff for me. And Celestria is in. She says, hello. Grandma Susan says hello to Celestria. And Tanya says, Grandma Susan agreed. Timeless is my favorite series probably ever. That's so cool. I really like it a lot. And Celestria says, I might be reading A Flash of Magic by Alison Tebow or Transformed Tale by Leah Aloha Humphreys. Okay, is that a mermaid book? And Katrie says, no, but I just recently got one other from her and so intrigued about her. A May release this year. I'm thinking that's probably so. Super. Katrie is super intrigued. And Grandma Susan says, Tanya, are you caught up in the Timeless series? I've saved one or two. And Tanya says, Grandma Susan, I'm caught up and impatiently waiting for the next one in May. The 5th was my favorite. Which was your favorite? Okay, everybody say, what was your favorite? I have liked them all. I really like the 4th one. I really did like this 5th one. I guess just as I read them, the most recent one I read is my favorite. I did reread book 1, but I haven't gotten to my reread of book 2. So book 1, again, it's amazing. And I feel like it had to be so good to keep me wanting to keep going back to that series. So that's a difficult question. Apparently, same for Grandma Susan. She says, I couldn't choose, Tanya. And Grandma Susan says, cute ambiance. Hey, Steve. He says, Hola, finally got a chance to hop on. Well, I'm glad you're here. And And Morgan says, I'm back. I'm reading Edenbrook tonight. Oh, nice. I want to do a reread of that one. And Tanya says, I did a 10-minute workout and read a chapter and a half. Good deal. And Katrina says, ambiance was good, not distracting. Great. And Steve saying hi to Morgan. Katrina got up to 25%. And Grandma Susan says, hi, Steve and Morgan. And Tanya says, got 2 chapters read. Oh, Edenbrook, Morgan, I am excited about reading that in March. Cool. And Bethany says, I read a few chapters of In of Love and Treason and finished a chapter of Dark Clouds, Deep Mercy. And Steve saying hi to Grandma Susan. Morgan says, hi, Steve and Grandma Susan. Jeanette says, got about 2.5 chapters read. And Whitney's here. Hey, she says hi. So what are you going to be working on? Anybody that hasn't said, let us know. I did get a little farther in my audiobook, but because I was looking at Audible and Libby and stuff, it paused my audiobook. But I am, let me see, how far did I get? Do you guys have state libraries? So I'm listening to this on the California State Library that's through an app called Palace. Yeah, it's called Palace. And you just, I don't know, did I have to prove that I was a citizen, a resident of California to get on this? I don't remember. But it's cool because it does have some more obscure audiobooks sometimes, and also sometimes some popular ones that are checked out other places. Like this, The Small and Mighty was like I don't know how many weeks wait on Libby, but I was able to get it right away on that one. And it looks like I only have about 20 minutes left in the book, so I should finish that during the next sprint. So I did pretty good. And I think when I finish that, I need to find a book with heart in the title for Jeanette's reading challenge. Also, I can't believe I've only read like 8 books this month. I normally do like around 14. So, but I did last week, all I did was listen to Pride and Prejudice here and there and hardly any time at all because last week I was on vacation. So at the beginning of the week, I was driving to Southern California, and then the middle of the week I was at Disneyland, and then at the end of the week I was coming back home. And then because I brought my nephew back with me, I went to go stay the night at his house and to be there with him until his parents got home the next day. So I wasn't at home to pick up any physical books until Saturday. And the Pride and Prejudice, I think I actually am not even done with that one yet. I think I still have a couple of chapters yet for that, maybe a few. I'm at the part, yeah, because I'm at the part where Lydia has just run away. I'm right there. So I still have a bit to go on that, but I should finish that pretty soon. I've been listening to that mostly while I'm driving, but this book that I'm reading today is for my book club and I need to get it done. So I put everything else on hold for that. But if anyone has a suggestion for a book with heart in the title that's not too long, like 300-ish pages, let me know. And Whitney says, I may continue on in Little Women tonight, not sure yet. Oh, that's so good. I want to read that this year. I think I still am planning to read that in October for the Read Along, Knit Along that I host. But somebody mentioned that it was, Share, because we have that yarn book club. And I think that Little Women is the book for a month coming up. Let's see. yeah, for May. So I may read that one in May. And Whitney's asking, what was the audiobook platform that you mentioned? It's called audiobooks.com, but it is an app. It's very similar to Audible, where you pay a certain amount and you get a credit, and then you get a bonus credit. So I think it's actually a better deal than Audible, because for Audible, for what is it, $14.95 or whatever, you get one credit, and then like $22.95 you get two credits. But this audiobooks.com, it's $14.95 and you get one credit, but then you also get like a VIP credit, which I don't know if that's like a book to keep or just like a book that you borrow, but you basically get to listen to 2 books a month for your one credit. And then the books that you spend your credit on are there in your library, so you can re-listen to them at any time. And that was audiobooks.com. And hey, Cher, she's hoping to finish a hat tonight. I finished a scarf. I took it to my room, so during the next sprint, I'll bring it out. But it was the scarf that I was knitting on the big needles. It was just kind of like I wanted to use that yarn, so I just did a mistake rib scarf in my big fat needles, which I love. I did finish that, and I was knitting on my February socks. I did not finish them. I don't think I'm going to finish them by the end of this month either, but I probably will still work on those. I took my book club cardigan to work the other day because I was going to work during my breaks, but I didn't end up doing, because I've just been feeling run down since I've got back from vacation. So I really didn't have the energy to do a lot of thinking. And that one, I really need to follow the pattern. So I haven't, other than that mistake rib scarf, I don't think I've knit anything this week. And I haven't started anything new for crochet. I do have a granny blanket that, you start in the middle and just kind of go around or in like a square. I still have that one that I could work on. That's pretty mindless. So if I get all of my book journal caught up and everything, and I switch to Pride and Prejudice, maybe I will work on that. But I have a lot of physical books too. And Jeanette has some recommendations: Heart on the Line or Two to Win Her Heart, both by Karen Wittemeyer. Let me write those down. I feel like, have you guys watched Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone? I forget when it came out. It was a long time ago. But the mom is making a list for the dad, and she's like, write that down. I feel like that. Heart on the Line, To Win Her Heart. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. Not sure if it's a book or just a movie, and I don't know if there's anything spicy in it. I want to feel like I saw the movie. I don't know if I just maybe saw a bunch of trailers. I used to manage a music store and we rented videos, so I do remember seeing stuff from that movie, but it could have just been like when we were promoting it, and I may not have watched it. I don't know why I wouldn't have watched it at that time, but yeah. And I'm not sure if it's a book, but I will check it out. And let's see. Katrina says, A Warrior's Heart. A Warrior's Heart. By Misty M. Beller. Sorry, I'm shaking the video there because I was writing on top of my laptop. When Calls the Heart. Oh, that would be a good one. I would love to read that. I love that TV series. Okay, and that was from Katrina, and it's by Jeanette Oki. And then Jeanette says, oops, it's 2 Winter Heart, not the number 2. Okay, I will change that. And Grandma Susan is recommending Hearts Away. Is that a cozy mystery, Grandma Susan? Hearts Away, Shannon Dunlap. Okay. And Bethany says Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken is such a good movie. And then Heart of a Lion by Gilbert Morris. I'll check these out during the next sprint. And that was Grandma Susan's recommendation. All right. And Tanya says there are some good fairy tales Kindle books today for free on Amazon. Don't think any of those have heart in it, though. Is there like a certain search that will bring those up, Tanya? I'd like to check that out. Let's see. Grandma Susan says it's clean romance with elderly matchmakers. It was a hoot. Oh, that does sound fun. I like matchmaker stories. I think is it Karen Whittemire that has a matchmaker series? And Tanya says, I searched for the authors' names, Brittany Fitcher and Mary Meacham. Okay, let me see. It's hard to tell here. I just did a search. But it looks like everything that's 0 on my search is like Kindle Unlimited. So let me look up by the authors. And Tanya says, Celestia, do you know who the other authors are? I'll check my Kindle. And Tanya says, Legacy of Roses, Melanie Cellier. I'll check that also on the next sprint. We're at the bottom of the comments and almost time to go into another sprint, I think. So we'll get that started. We'll keep on with the same ambiance. And I will search those things out and then try to finish catching up on my book journal. And Tanya says, Brittany Fitcher, Princess of the Silent Moor and the Huntsman's Heart. There's one with a heart. Okay, I will look at that and see. That's good. That's a good comment to end on. I'll get the ambiance set up and the banner set up, and we'll see you back again at 5 after. Yep, that's math. All right, we're back. So I did find another book that I had started, but I haven't finished yet. Beyond Ivy Walls. I did start that. I did start that one when I finished Cloaked in Beauty, but then I put it down. I don't know why. So I'm on chapter 8 of that. Um, I finished The Small and the Mighty during that last sprint, and I went back to the audiobook of Pride and Prejudice just so that I could finish catching up on my journal. I wrote down all the books that I've read and got the dates pretty well in there. And then I started filling out my little chart here that I have. So I'm not completely caught up on my journal as far as all of the little trackers, but I am caught up as far as logging the books that I've read this month and what I still have in progress for this month that I haven't finished. So right now, the only two that I haven't finished are Pride and Prejudice and Beyond Ivy Walls. And yeah, everything else that I started this month is finished. I did borrow When Calls the Heart from Libby, so I'll be reading that. And it's under 300 pages, so I should be able to finish that this weekend. And then that will be the last book that I need for a February challenge. Actually, it's Jeanette's reading challenge. It's one of the February prompts. So if I finish that, I will feel really good about this month, even though I think that's only, I think I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll be 9 books read this month, which actually I think is better than February last year when I was in that big reading slump. So that's pretty good. How did all of you do? Let's see where we left off over here. Tanya says Scarlet in the Dark Woods, Silent Mermaid by Brittany Fitcher, and The White Slipper by Brittany Fitcher. They were free earlier today for Kindle. I did look at that, and I did see that there were some that said 0 on there. I'll look at that more. Hopefully it's like before 9 o'clock that, that offer. I mean, it's beyond 9 o'clock my time when that offer is still going on, because sometimes they cut it off like at midnight East Coast time, and then I'm busy until then, so I won't have time. Hopefully it will go over and I can get some of those. I am interested definitely in reading more fairy tale retellings, especially if they're recommended. If you all have read them, that's a plus in their favor. And Tanya says Becoming Hook by Mary Meacham, I Wish I May by Adeline Bell-Sterling. I hope I didn't miss any. I definitely will check those out. Hi, Elma. She says, hello, I just got here. I am reading The Girl in the Glass tonight. Very good. I checked off my February, I think it was romance for your readathon for this year. And I used Cloaked in Beauty for that. And Tabitha says, good evening. I'm reading The Princess Bride. Oh, cool. I did want to read that this year. It's been a couple of years since I've read it, and I had read it years and years before that. So last year was my second time reading it. Or maybe I read it in 2024. Whenever I read it, it's been a little while. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did the first time, so I wanted to reread it again, because I know it's like Katie's favorite book from Paperbacks and Ponytails. So I wanted to read it again because I did enjoy it the first time. I don't know, maybe it was just where my head was at when I reread it more recently, but I definitely want to try it again. Hey, Lucy's in. She says hi. She's on break. Well, she might be back to work now. I don't know how long her break is. She works until 10. And she's crying. And she says, miss you guys. And Grandma Susan says, I loved Beyond the Ivy Walls. What do you think so far? I really am enjoying it. I think it's very unique in that she's so like and funny. Like when she's at work and the girls are teasing her because of how she smells. That's rotten of them. But it was funny that that was included like in the book. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. And Morgan says, I read 2 chapters. And Grandma Susan's telling Lucy that she misses her too. And Kat got another chapter and a half read. Alma read a chapter. Jeanette read a chapter and then created a thumbnail, wrote a description, and scheduled her video for Saturday. Now she's updating her reading journal. Very productive, Jeanette. I love that. And Grandma Susan listened to her book for 30 minutes and happy with that progress. Good deal. And Katrina is at 31%. She might switch books for the next sprint. And Tanya got a chapter read and updating her reading journal. Cool deal. And Alma says, yay, Cloaked in Beauty is a great book. I really enjoyed it a lot. I did. I love that Texas, is it Texas Ever After? Is that the series? By Karen Whittemire. All those 3 books, those are my first exposure to Karen Whittemire. And I loved all 3 of them. So I am excited to do more of her books. She just had a book come out that was like the first in a series. And I want to say that I already purchased it, but I may not have done it yet because I had so many books on deck to read. But I definitely want to start that series next. I know she has plenty of back catalog, but I think it was like, is it a Spinsters series? But I'm very interested in that one. So I think that is the next book of hers that I will read, and then I may go back to some of her older books. I really, like I said, I really enjoyed that series that I just finished. And let's see. Taming Lady Temperance. Taming Lady Temperance, a Christian opposites attract frontier western historical romance with cowboys. And this is part of the Secret Society of Spinsters. Did I start reading it already? I think there might have been a chapter at the end of, was it at the end of Cloaked in Beauty? Because I feel like I already got, yeah, it doesn't say that I bought it. But I feel like I already got like a whole bunch of story of it where she thinks she's not sure where she's going. Yeah, it must be like a chapter in at the end of Cloaked in Beauty. Let's see. Yes, it was. It has a sneak peek at the back of Cloaked in Beauty, and yeah, I was like already interested. So that is the next book of hers that I'm going to read, and looking forward to that. I'm not sure, besides finishing Beyond Ivy Walls and When Calls the Heart, if I will have Pride and Prejudice. It's an audiobook, so I know I'll finish it in the next couple of days, but I don't know if I'll get any more books read in February after that. But I am looking forward to Middle Grade March. And what is the mystery one? Mystery readathon called that's in March, because I want to do that too. So those will be my 2 printables that I'll be doing. And who was it that was saying yesterday that the Middle Grade March one doesn't have like a printable, it's just a list? Is that right? But I I can make something. What I've been doing for like Cheryl's readathon, the Jurassic readathon, the printable that I found is just a list. So I don't know if there's anything like a bingo board or anything for that. But what I did was I just made like a little blank page with the dotted pages and just room for one cover for each of the prompts that she has listed. So if there's nothing for middle grade March, or Jeanette's telling me here, March Mystery Madness, then I'll just do like a grid like that for my journal. Yeah, I'm so excited to get that caught up, guys. I love reading. I also love Disneyland, and they don't coincide very well. I normally only go 1 or 2 days, but I was going with other family and they bought the 3-day pass. So we were there for 3 days. It was a lot. I love it. I never get tired of Disneyland. But I'm definitely like at Disneyland when I'm there, at least this time, because I was taking care of my little niece while everybody else was getting on rides. Because I go often, I told them I would watch her while they got on rides. And so I was strolling her around a lot. And I don't think, did I not take my earbuds, or maybe I just didn't want to be, I wanted to be able to hear if she, because she's just little, I wanted to be able to hear if she needed something. So I didn't want to put them in. So no audiobook, which sometimes I do at Disneyland. Generally though, I like that they play all the little songs in the different places, and just the whole atmosphere is nice. So I do generally not read when I'm there, but I do take some knitting. So if I'm waiting in line, I'll be knitting on a sock or something, but no reading while I'm there. So that took a lot. And then the Bluetooth on my car stopped working, so I couldn't connect my audiobook to my car speaker. So I was listening to a lot of music instead. And then my nephew, on the way back, we were chatting and stuff. So I didn't want to listen to an audiobook when I could be chatting with him. And Elma says, I haven't seen a graphic for middle grade March. Yes. So I'll just make something, or maybe I'll make it like a list or something. And Jeanette says they don't have a graphic for the middle grade March, but Hannah mentioned yesterday she was going to create one and would share it. Oh, that's cool. So I'm going to have to check Hannah's socials and see if I can find that. Yeah, so how's everybody doing as far as tracking your reading? Who has a book journal? Who tracks it outside of a book journal, like maybe just a list or something? Let me know. I'd love to know what you're doing to track your reading, or do you not track it? Do you just read? I didn't start tracking my reading till just a few years ago. I had heard, and this was several years ago, was I in my 20s? It was a long time ago, about Art Garfunkel kept a list of every book that he had read. And I thought that was so cool. But by that time, I had already been reading years and years and years. And I was like, I couldn't go back. So it felt like kind of like it was too late to start that. I think I might have a journal where I just started writing down the books I read, but I read a lot and I don't always have my journal with me. So I would lose track of what I was reading. So that didn't work for me. I've been doing a lot better with my book journals. And like today, I was able to catch that up, but that was a long time. So I need to make sure that I'm checking into that as soon as I finish a book. And when I start a new book, to put the new book in there too, so that I remember that I have it started. Let's see. Grandma Susan uses Goodreads and it works well for her. I do get notifications, Grandma Susan, when you're doing updates in Goodreads. And Tabitha says, I only track on Goodreads, but I love the creativity of a journal. And Alma says, I use Goodreads and Storygraph. And then at the end of the month, I put everything in my reading journal. And Katrina, I made a tab in Libby, which has worked so far. Even if I read a physical copy, I still put the book in there to track. Oh, I know they have that timeline, but I never thought that you could put in other books that weren't from Libby because I do use the timeline to like remind me. I usually will return a book right away when I finish it. So that timeline shows me when I checked it out and when I returned it. So that helps a lot when I'm trying to catch my journal up. But I didn't know that you can add other books or make a list even. I'll have to check that out. And Tanya says, I use Goodreads for many years now. This is the first year I'm doing actually a reading journal. Got the inspiration to do that from Jeanette. Yeah, Jeanette's reading journal is amazing. Like how she has all the different things. I know some other booktubers. There's one other booktuber that I subscribed. She was like the first one that I found that I even got that booktube name. And then that led me to find Amanda from Book Lover Amanda. And then that just opened up this whole section of booktube to me. The other booktuber, she doesn't, there's not a lot of overlap in the books that she reads and to the books that I read, but really that was my first exposure to BookTube. She did a series on Agatha Christie, and that's Books Like Woe is her channel. Her name is Mara. She does occasionally have strong language, and she reads a lot of books that I wouldn't be interested in reading. But when she does like an Agatha Christie thing or something like that, I like to watch those videos of hers. And she does her wrap ups that like she tracks everything on spreadsheets, and it's the stuff that she tracks like I wouldn't even think of tracking. So she tracks things like uh, books written by women versus books written by men, books from other countries and things like that, books in translation, and just like all kinds of things that I wouldn't even think of tracking. Jeanette's tracking is involved to me on a similar level like that, but I feel like her tracking is more in line with things that I would track. So that was a really her video when she was going through her journal was so inspirational for me this year. So thank you, Jeanette. And Alma says, I didn't know you could do that in Libby. Yeah, me either. And Jeanette says, Goodreads, a spreadsheet, and a reading journal. And hi, Annie. She says, hi, all. I'm reading All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriot for the second time. I've been wanting to read that. There was a lady, a mother of one of my book club friends, that was in memory care, and I was asked to go and visit her. And so I did, and that's what we chatted about because she loves James Herriot. And so she had his books and was rereading them for I don't know how many times, but yeah. And since then, I've wanted to read them myself. I love the TV series. Katrina says they don't have all books even available for notifications, but it has happened to work this far. I've contemplated if I listen to sermon series. Is that similar to listening to a nonfiction audiobook? I would say I would count that. I guess if it's you know how sermons will have like some sermons will have like a very defined topic, and so if it's like something like that, I would consider that as like a nonfiction audiobook. And Katrina says wouldn't be able to add that to Libby. Yeah. Storygraph, Alma mentioned. I think when I was doing the 52 book club challenge in 2024, like they opened up a Storygraph section that we could use, but I didn't find it easy to go through, so I haven't been back to it since then. Hey, Kelly. Kelly says, hi, everyone. Glad you're here. So, we were just kind of going over do you track your reading? How do you track it? Do you have a book journal? Do you track it in Goodreads? Alma also tracks in Storygraph, and Katrina tracks in Libby. Apparently, you can make lists there. And Jeanette has her spreadsheet, her Goodreads, and her amazing book journal. Grandma Susan says, hi, Kelly. What are you reading? Yeah. Oh, Kelly says, I will be reading Anne of Avonlea. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. All right. I don't know if I told you guys that I do this historical read along, and they're reading Les Miserables by Victor Hugo, and I bought a copy at Half Price Books, but it's abridged, and it was like super fat, so I thought it was like the full thing, but so now I have to get like the full one. I did find on Amazon they have an edition that's in 2 volumes, so I think I might order those, um, because together it would be like that fat, but like 2 volumes would be easier to hold and read. And Kelly says, I track mostly on Fable, but I do keep track of my books on my notes on my phone, and I'm new to keeping track in a reading journal as well. And Kelly says, I also use Goodreads, but I'm not really a fan of it. What is it that you're not a fan of? I know I do have a Goodreads account. My problem is that I don't I'm not good about putting in there a book that I'm reading, and then when I finished it and like all the stuff that you would want to do, your rating and such. I'm trying to do better this year, and as a matter of fact, that was one thing that I was gonna try to work on right now during sprints. But I remembered that my book journal was a couple of weeks behind, well, all of February behind. So I decided to work on that instead. But I do plan on getting that Goodreads caught up. Um, yeah, so it looks like we are down to the bottom of the comments. So let's go ahead and start another sprint. This is actually going to be the final sprint because I do have my book club tonight. So I will need to leave for that about 10 after. So that's about exactly the time. So let's just go a little short. Let's do a 35-minute sprint until 5 after, and then we can wrap up any comments really quick. And then that'll be tonight's sprints. And next week, I don't have any commitments after, so it could potentially be a longer sprint session next time, but this one will be a little shorter today. So let us get into that sprint. And we are back. And first, let me apologize that I didn't notice that my ambiance wasn't on and I was like eating in front of y'all. Okay, let's see. So I did get some reading done in Beyond Ivy Walls. So I did chapter 8, 9, and 10. So 3 chapters. And I had to like go back and kind of remind myself of who some of the characters were. Because it's been a while since I've picked that up, and I finished some books since then. And let's see where we left off in the comments and how all of you do or did. Kelly says, I also use Goodreads. I asked her why she wasn't a fan. Tanya says, I wish Goodreads had options on the app to pull items from your shelves by dates. You mean like when you've read them? On Goodreads, I have a shelf for each year. And I have a shelf for my book club books and read, obviously. What else do I have? I don't know if I have a shelf for the 52 book club challenge. I think I thought about it, but I don't think I ever created it. And Kelly says, I don't like that I can't give half-star ratings on Goodreads, and I don't feel like it's as easy to keep updated as Fable. I haven't even looked at Fable, so I'm not sure what makes it easier, but I should check it out. Tanya says Goodreads. And Tanya says, that's true, Kelly. And Alma says, Storygraph lets you do half-star ratings. Okay. And Tanya says, about the stars, I wish they did half stars. I don't use Fable, so I don't know anything about that. And Cher says, Kelly, I am 2 episodes from wrapping up the final season of Anne with an E. My daughter and I are loving it. I didn't start watching that one. I heard that it had some like difficult things at the beginning, and I just never started. I don't have a lot of time to watch TV because of all of the other stuff I do, unless I'm sick. Then I can like just binge watch things, but it's usually like a cozy mystery series. And Jamie says, hello, friends. Hey, Jamie. I'm ending sprints early tonight because I have a book club. It's about 15 minutes away, so I'm just wrapping up some comments, and then I'll get going. Put a sweater on and be on my way. Kelly says, hi, Jamie. And Kelly says, I watched a bit of Anne with an E, but lost interest in, I think, the 2nd season when the con artist came on the scene. I might try it again someday because I heard that storyline doesn't last long. And Kelly says, I wish it wasn't so expensive to get a DVD set of the 1985 Anne of Green Gables. That one is my absolute favorite. Mine too. Kelly, they have sales every once in a while, so keep an eye out. The production company, I think, they had the whole complete Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea series and the television series. They had a whole bundle of that, and I want to say it was like $50. For like the whole thing, but I don't know why I didn't buy it at the time. But yeah, I'd look out for sales from the production company for those DVD sets. And Kat says, I got to 62%. Thank you for the sprints. Have a good night, everyone. Everyone, yes, have a great night and good night, Kat. Kelly says, I read 2 pages shy of 2 chapters in Anne of Avonlea. And Jane says, I made it to 70% in my book. Good deal. And Morgan read 2 more chapters. Grandma Susan said I'm at 48% and the wolf shall dwell with the lamb. And Alma says, I think I'm getting to some kind of reveal in my book right now. Ooh, how exciting. And Tanya says, got a chapter read in The Red Canary and a chapter read in Paid in Full by Rick Renner and a chapter read in Hebrews and First Peter. Excellent. And she says, thank you for the sprints. You're welcome. And Annie says, I got halfway through chapter 1. You got some reading in. And Grandma Susan says, thank you for sprints. Everyone have a blessed week. Absolutely. Thank you. And Paige says, night. Thanks for the sprints. Good night, Paige. And Kelly says, thanks for the sprint, Sam. You are welcome. All right. So that is at the end of the comments. I will have sprints next Thursday, and we won't have to end at 7. Just because my book club starts at 7:30 and it's about 10 minutes away, so I need to get out the door. But yeah, I loved hanging out with you guys in our chat in between sprints. I definitely got some stuff done on my book journal and made some more progress in Beyond Ivy Walls, which I will continue to read. And I don't know, I'm about, a third of the way through there, so hopefully I can finish it before the end of the month so that I can count that as one of my February books. So yeah, all right, guys, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. And I do have a couple of videos that I filmed that I'm editing, so hopefully I'll get a video up in the next few days, and we will see you next time. Bye.